So this did dry kind of clearly a stripe. So hopefully that's not going to annoy me too much. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back and start painting around this tree just on this hill that's surrounding it with the one, two, three, fourth one down. And I'm not gonna paint on this other stuff. I'm gonna save that for getting just starting off with some darker color. But for this one, I'm still gonna go with kind of a peacock blue. I'm curious to see what happens as I get down to the lower part where clearly that stripe of where I added the Quinn Rose in the previous layer is screaming out. But yeah, let's check it out. So definitely going with my 12 round at this point. Going to do this side and then that side, and then I'm going to also paint the little peekaboo holes there in the tree. So let's see what happens here. Not going to agonize too much about that exact line, but try to get some indication of a little bit of detail around the tree. I'll talk more about that later. So because watercolor is transparent, and this color in particular is fairly transparent, I'm bringing in just a little bit stronger color because I want to make it so that transition is not quite as obvious. There's a lot more things that's going to be happening with this painting, so I'm really not that worried about it, but sometimes those things can kind of come up and surprise you in ways that you weren't wanting to really be surprised. I'm probably going to end up making it even a little bit darker up there, but I'm going to stick with the plan for now. There's nothing wrong with letting that shape dry first before painting over here. In fact, I would encourage you to do that just so you have a better sense of what's drying and what's not drying. For the sake of the video, because I have a pretty good idea that I can keep that in I can juggle that aspect as well. If I stay painting over here and I'm focused completely over here, especially when I start thinking details around leaves and whatnot, this can happen where like enough of it will pool up and you're so focused here you don't notice that, and then eventually that will create a drip, and you'll say, Maybe next time I'll listen to my watercolor teacher and only try to deal with one shape at a time. And even though this is kind of the same layer and color, it's definitely a different shape. So on the left side of the tree, this brush, this black velvet, has a really quite nice tip. Excuse me while I adjust. So it is pretty good at getting into smaller areas. It can be tricky if you have like way too much paint. Goofy teacher I am. Where was I? Over here. Maybe that new silhouette line is something I kind of like. I sort of didn't finish up. I didn't finish quite to the line. But maybe I'll take that as an opportunity to sort of just be spontaneous. So if I use this big number 12 round brush to do these little shapes, it will be handy to make sure I don't have way too much paint. And it certainly is a good candidate for a smaller brush. But I'm here right now. And going for it. Those shapes are very not exact, so I'm just mostly trying to make sure that the idea of painting through what's going to be branches, and that's going to end up being dark anyways. So there'll be plenty of opportunity to deal with that. Well, cool. Yeah, starting to take shape. There's really not a whole lot of reason why I couldn't have just gone and finished this one color onto that whole layer. But yeah, just kind of at this point wanting to be in charge of how many layers. Things start adding up. It's interesting. This can tell that these small shapes sort of got a little bit more of the color than the hillside that it's supposed to represent. So I'm going to lift out just a touch. Quite likely that I'll adjust all that anyways. Just kind of making a thirsty brush and picking up some color. Nice. Okay. Come along. It's fun to see how it starts taking shape.